What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. The Link statue did finish. That drawing concluded, and I did email the winner, so we'll see when they get back to me. Generally, I give them 24 to 48 hours. Then I do have to draw again and move on. But we do start the new drawing, the new statue that I'm really happy about. This is a statue that I actually really like, and it is the Metroid statue, and it looks really good. Also, I believe from Figma. But overall, it's a very, very nice piece for the collection. You can enter for that down in the link in the description. We'll draw that at 80,000 subscribers. Now, we all know what happened yesterday. The Newswave went up at 8 a.m. and then, of course, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So an hour later, Nintendo drops their Direct Mini, I guess they called it. It's a smaller one. It's about 15 minutes long, 14 minutes, I think, 20-something seconds. So it was right around there. And they showed us a bunch of games, and it was very interesting because some people liked it and some people did not like it. But we're going to go through all the games, have a few other things to talk about, so let's get started. So to jump into this topic, I'm going to go down all of the games here. I'm just going down the list of games that were announced, and then we're going to talk about what happened with this Direct. Because like I said, there are some people on either side of the fence. Some people really liked the Direct, and then some people were kind of disappointed. I can kind of understand either side, and it really seems to come down to your experience with Nintendo's systems in the last 5 years. So here we go. These are all the titles with the release dates that we know of right now, starting with Dark Souls Remastered. That seemed to be the big banner game, the one that they put at the end. It was like the finale. Yes, Dark Souls Remastered is going to the Switch. It is also going to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. That comes out May 25th. Mario Tennis Aces comes out in the spring. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze comes out May 4th. Kirby Star Allies, March 16th. The World Ends With You Final Remix is just out sometime this year, as far as we know. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition is out in the spring. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy is out in the summer. Ease 8 is also out in the summer. Payday 2, February 27th. We kind of already knew that, though. Faye, February 16th. Celeste, January 25th. Mario Odyssey has an update coming in. That's going to be like a balloon world is what they're calling it. That update is out February. As far as we know, no actual date, just February. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle is getting Donkey Kong and some new boards and everything. That is coming in the spring. And then Pokken Tournament DX Battle Pack is coming March 23rd. We're going to talk about Dark Souls a little more in depth here in a bit. I wanted to more so go over the Direct. Now, some of the games I was pretty excited about was the Mario Tennis game that's showing up, mostly because they seem to be adding in the thing that I really liked, which was the campaign from the Game Boy Advanced games. The Game Boy Advance game that came out was really cool. It was like almost like an RPG sort of. You built your skills up. You went through a full story mode where you kind of built your way up from junior varsity to varsity. You participated in tournaments. You beat different players, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. It sounds like, according to several sources, it not only is going to have a story, it's going to more mirror the Game Boy Advance story mode, and that is awesome because that was a good time. I'm hoping it also has online gameplay. That is a big thing. I feel like it should. I don't even know why this should be a question. I'd be shocked if it doesn't come out with some sort of online. So overall, Mario Tennis looks like they can kind of, I guess, get their tennis game figured out, because the last one that came out on the Wii U was not very good. It was met with very mediocre to bad reviews because it was kind of bare bones. There was no campaign at all, and it was just it was basic. There wasn't a lot to it. So hopefully that comes out and it's well received. Now, Dark Souls was a big one. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. But overall, I mean, you're noticing a trend here, right? There's a lot of it reports. Even The World Ends With You appears to be very close to a port from the cell phone game, the one that they did bring out on Android and iOS devices. They did move that over and has touchscreen support and everything for that with single screen gameplay. That seems to be a port mostly from there. It's something they've already done. And I mean, other than that, you see a lot of games that we've had on the Wii U. And that seems to be a good thing or a bad thing, like I said, depending on your experience with Nintendo's last system, the Wii U. Because there are a lot of people who did not own the Wii U. I mean, 13.5 million people own the Wii U, and already more than that now own the Switch. It tells you, it's clear a lot of people who own the Switch didn't care for the Wii U, didn't even buy the Wii U. And I can understand that. The Wii U's marketing, not good, right? A lot of people didn't even know what it was in the beginning, so I understand why a lot of people didn't buy into it. But there are some really good games here if you completely missed out on the Wii U. If you did not play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, that needs to be a game that you buy when it comes out, because it is very good. Now, it is technically part of the Nintendo Selects for $20, so it's going to come out on the Switch with extra character Funky Kong and everything. That's going to be $60 there. So keep in mind, they're going to be selling these for full price, it seems. but they're good games. So if you did not play things like Hyrule Warriors, if you didn't play stuff like Donkey Kong, I get why you might have been missing that if you didn't have the Wii U. The game sold well enough, although I think Donkey Kong should sell better on the Switch by a good margin since it sold less than 2 million copies on the Wii U. Also, something like Ys 8 is a very good addition. We actually talked about Newswave yesterday going to the PC with the fixed, I guess you'd say, or revamped localization options. I assume those are also going to the Switch version. That's actually really cool to see Nice and Falcom kind of come together and do that for the Switch. After hearing Falcom's president not sure about the Switch, it seems like Nice America kind of intervened a bit and said, hey, we're doing this. We're bringing Ys 8 over. And they're just like, all right, let's do it. But the big thing we saw over and over again online, on Twitter, YouTube videos everywhere, too many ports, right? The Switch is becoming a port machine. And yeah, that's going to happen from Nintendo's perspective because no one bought the Wii U. They had a very small install base for pretty much all of their games. 13.5 million is not a good install base to try to sell your games. They're very fortunate the attach rate was good because people bought the Wii U simply to play Nintendo games pretty much only. If you don't believe me, look at the third-party sales. That'll tell you everything you need to know right there. I mean, games like Mario Kart, though, selling over 8 million copies on a system that was 13.5 million deep, that's very, very good with that attach rate. And I think Nintendo's banking on that attach rate coming over with it to the Switch. Just feeling like, hey, I bet you at least half the people who have a Switch right now didn't have a Wii U. I think they're right about that. After seeing how Mario Kart 8 sold on the Switch so far, I think they're onto something. So I don't really blame them for bringing any of these ports over. In fact, they should bring most of the Wii U library over. It's just, again, if you bought a Wii U and you've played all these games, you've owned all these games, you're feeling a little annoyed right now, right? Because you've already seen all of these games and you might not want them, but they're not for you. That's the big thing right now. Nintendo has to really, I guess, cover all their bases here. Some of those games are too good to leave behind on the Wii U. Something like a Donkey Kong is. Mario Maker absolutely is. So I hope if they're not planning on bringing it over, they have a sequel in mind because that game took over the internet for a while and absolutely has to come over. And of course, we can't end this all without speculation, right? That seems to be the way of the internet now with these Nintendo Directs. Well, if you didn't know, this isn't the first time Nintendo's dropped a mini, really, even out of nowhere. They've done these Direct Minis for quite a while now. And in fact, the interesting thing that somebody noticed, a pattern, I saw this on Reddit, was that generally after a mini drops, no more than 20 days later, a full Direct usually shows up. The mini is almost like to get some of the, I guess, the smaller announcements out of the way. In this case, ports, like ports all over the place, right? Smaller games, get them out of the way so that when it's time to really show the big things, Metroid, for example, right? Pokemon, the online service. There's so much stuff we're missing right now. What's going on with Fire Emblem, right? There's so much stuff we're missing, and I don't think they can wait till E3 to show a lot of this stuff, so I do expect some kind of Direct between now and E3. Could it be in the next 20 days or less? Yeah, I guess it could. I don't know how likely that is, although history, if history's taught us anything, it's more likely than we think. All right, Dark Souls, let's talk about this very quickly. It's going to the Switch, PS4, Xbox One. We had frame rate and we had resolution drop to us, and it looks like, according to them, the Switch version, to get started there, 1080p at 30 frames per second docked, 720p 30 frames per second in handheld mode. Improved frame rates, according to them, will be applied to the Switch, which means more than likely it will be very stable 30 if you played it on the 360 and the PS3. Let's just forget about Blighttown for a second. Even in normal gameplay and in normal parts of the map, you would still get stuttering and the frame rate would drop and come back up and dip, like if you're fighting an enemy. It looks like, in this case, it will be more stable, according to From Software and Bandai Namco. So if that's the case, that'll be good. I know people are a little disappointed because you're going to hear what the PS4 and the Xbox One run at, which is 1080p at 60. That's what you're getting with the Xbox One and the PS4 base. Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, they are pushing that to 4K. Probably will have some checkerboarding in there, and that will also be 60 frames per second. The PC version is just whatever your hardware can run. You know, you want 144 frames, you go out and you buy a nice video card. So it looks like the Switch version is stuck at 30 now. I will say this, a lot of people like games like Dark Souls 3, they like Bloodborne, those are 30 frames per second, so if you enjoy those games, then I'm not really sure how much that frame rate's going to affect you. However, if you want the portability, you get the Switch version. If you want the high frame rate, you get either the PS4, the Xbox One, or probably the PC version if you want an extremely high frame rate. I'm a little frustrated here with their I guess them charging the PC community again, it's so weird. Now, if you don't know, the first one came out super broken. Like, the controls were all over the place. The game had a hard time running. It was not a good experience. In fact, they had to pretty much rely on some of the Steam community to fix a lot of the issues for them. So people paid full price when it came out. You know, their standard price they were charging for it. And they got a pretty bad experience. So I'm a little surprised after seeing something like Skyrim deliver with the special edition as a free update for anyone who already had Skyrim on the PC, for them to come out and take 50% off and make you still pay $20. This is a $40 retail game, so they're going to charge you $20 for this update so you have a working game. Seems a little weird. From Software and Bandai, you know what? Maybe give that away for free as an update, because you're already going to make plenty of money on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch version. No need to charge the people on the PC twice for the same game. Actually, a broken game and then a working game. No need to do that. Give it to them for free as an update. I think they've earned it at this point after all the work they had to do on your terrible port when it first came out anyway. Next up, I was very excited to see this news. Final Fantasy XII is going to the PC. Not only is it going to the PC, it's going to have a bunch of additional features, a lot of upgrades that I'm very excited for. Now, I did not get this on the PS4 yet, because I had a feeling it would eventually go to something like the PC. I wasn't sure about the Switch, but Sony seems to have no problem, I mean zero problem with a lot of their games also going to the PC. So I was very hopeful. A lot of Final Fantasy games are going to the PC, and it does. It's going there. It's coming out February 1st. It's going to be 60 frames per second. It's going to be compatible with 21:9 ultra-wide monitors. Up to 3 monitors, by the way, can be used. And New Game Plus, New Game Minus are going to be available from the get-go. Right away, they're going to have 3 background music options, and it looks like it's overall going to be awesome with full controller support, Steam trading cards. If you're maybe hoping for 60 frames on the PS4, look, you'll get it on the PC. Now, maybe you've already bought it on the PS4, in which case you're probably already beat it, have fun with it. So this is more for the people who maybe didn't pick it up right away and were hoping for something like this. There you go. It's coming out February 1st, Final Fantasy XII on the PC, specifically, as far as I can tell, going to Steam. In our last bit of news, let's talk about Prince of Persia. Now, you haven't really heard that name for a while, right? I mean, back in 2013 when they paused the entire series because I don't think it was doing that well. I mean, we had Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, right? Way back, I think 2010. And then again, they just stopped developing for any Prince of Persia games in 2013. So people have been, some fans of it have been wondering what's going on. In fact, they thought as much to ask Jordan Mechner, who is the creator of Prince of Persia, and this was what he had to say on Twitter. Chrissy, I know a few other people who feel the same way. We're doing our best to make it happen. Now, that was actually in response to Chrissy Teigen, who asked what's going on with Prince of Persia. Now, you probably know her from posting on Twitter a lot with her Switch. There was this picture of her at like an NBA basketball game with the Switch while they were in on the floor level seats and everything. People were giving her a hard time, but hey, if you're not that interested in basketball, I guess that's why the Switch is around. But she did ask, got a response from Jordan about this, and it sounds like they're at least trying to get Prince of Persia back. I would like to see it because I really liked Sands of Time on the GameCube, and I think they started to get away from that. I mean, it became much more violent, much more about just combat and action and more hack and slash. And I really missed the Prince of Persia. Sands of Time, I think, was better because of the platforming was cool. I liked the ability to stop time when you would hit them with your dagger. And really, at that point, it started to get away from it, and it turned into something. Remember when Prince of Persia came out? They just called it Prince of Persia, and you couldn't die in the game. If you fell off a ledge, they would just grab you and stop you from falling off the ledge. Some people may have liked that, but it didn't feel like there was any consequence for playing that game. So I would like to see them just reboot the entire series, right, completely, and give us a new Prince of Persia, something awesome, something that takes it back to its original 3D roots. Even way back when in the 80s, when it really came out, it was all about platforming for the most part. Combat wasn't very good in it, so bring it back, make the platforming good, but also include some relatively fun combat, some puzzle solving. I think you'll have something there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, guys. Really helps. If not, hit the dislike button. Leave a bunch of comments down below about any of the stuff we talked about today. What were your thoughts on this Nintendo Direct Mini? Were you disappointed? Because I guess the build-up for it was massive, right? I mean, people were going crazy the day before. They stealth dropped this thing like out of nowhere. It's like, boom, direct, go. It was 9 a.m. Eastern. They just dropped it on their channel. It was not live streamed at all. they just dropped it. So I'm curious what your thoughts on this. Maybe you didn't have a Wii U and you're like, this is awesome. I can now play all these Switch games or these Wii U games that I missed out on without having to go back and buy a system that's not supported anymore. So yeah, in that case, I can see why you'd be excited. Or maybe you did own a Wii U. Maybe you still do. You had all these games. You're like, well, I'm not buying them again, so now what? Well, I mean, you have some games coming out, but I understand. Maybe you want release dates for stuff like Yoshi. Yoshi probably should have been here in the beginning. You got Kirby, but why not Kirby and Yoshi back to back? And then you got Bayonetta, and it's starting to pick up a little bit. But still, I mean, Bayonetta is also a port, so there you go. It's going to be like this for a little bit, guys, as they bring over the Wii U library to build it for its, I mean, year 3. You buy a Switch, you look back, there are a bunch of games to buy. So that's kind of their strategy here. Also, let me know what you think about something like Prince of Persia. Would you like to see that make a return? I think I would. I think I'd be okay with Prince of Persia coming back. It'd be pretty fun to see what they can do with it in now, 2018, 2019. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.